Hi. Hey everyone, how are you doing? I was gonna try and paint some miniatures, and my cat wants to play catch with me, so we'll see how that goes. Uh, she just bit me because I wasn't throwing her ball. So yeah, uh, I think maybe Kim, do you think your sound is picked up by my mic? Maybe it's not. Well, I was gonna paint this third mold from the Bayou Starter box, which is Stumpy, I think. They are called. I mean, they're two people. Don't know the story behind it, but I'm guessing the wall guys is perhaps called Stumpy. So it's this tree thingy Wolgeist with a gremlin riding it, holding an axe made from its arm. But as Kim pointed out, the Wolgeist can just regrow it, right? Hi, McLuff, how are you doing? I also thought maybe I'd show you, like, I made bases for the harpooners, and then I realized that they're on 40s, not on 30s. But I made these beach bases anyway. I guess I can put some other EVS stuff on it, like the Machinist and Maxine or something. But anyway, I'm making 40s for the harpooners too. But today it's all about Stumpy. And I thought we'd start off by dry brushing the bark. And why not start with dried bark, was my thinking. Fitting enough name. And dried bark is a pretty nice color, I think. No, I'm not the only Wyrd streamer who likes it. It's this pretty, like, grayish brown, which works well for bark, I'd say, because bark, well, it comes in a lot of different colors, but we tend to think of trees as brown, but they're rarely like milk chocolate brown, are they? Wyrd says, yeah, Stumpy is my favorite. Yeah, I really like all of them, but I think the rooster's my favorite just because it looks so scary, like, and insane. But it's hard to pick a favorite. They're all nice. This one's got these lovely details, like she's got her laundry up on a bit of rope hanging from the Wallgeist's branches, which is just a lovely detail. Cleaning this model up was a little difficult with the different plastic and all these branches. The other ones were easier, but we got there. Did some filing. Kitty has calmed down and she is poking her little ball gently, wondering why I'm just talking right out into the air, probably. So maybe that means she will play on her own now. We'll see. was gonna get a haircut today, but the hairdresser was ill and had to cancel. Thought I looked sharp today, but maybe next time. So we're doing a pretty heavy dry brush, wiping off most of the paint and just brushing it all over. Bark is pretty easy to paint. Like, as long as it's got good definition, which this model does, then you can just like do a lot of nice, you can get a lot of nice results quickly with washes and dry brushing. And like dry brushing gets some flack, but it's just another tool, you know? You can do a lot of cool stuff with dry brushing. Just making sure I get all the branches. And then after this one, we only have one model left from the Bayou Starter. And when everything is done, I'll raffle the set. And I'll give you more details on that at a later date. It's such a cute little Wyrd. That's the model that keeps on tempting me to get the whole box. It's really nice, isn't it? Like, it's got these cute childish proportions. It's like a children's book, Waldgeist, sort of. Perhaps a little scary for a children's book. Hi, McBluff. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Which has been your favorite to paint so far? Good question. I think maybe the pig. Like, they were both a lot of fun, the pig and the rooster. The rooster was a little bit challenging, I guess, with all that, like its skin was pretty difficult to paint. I'm doing all right. How are you? Yeah, I'm pretty good. Pretty hyped by Gen Con coming up. So I'm adding a little bit of Ushabti bone citadel to the dried bark. Actually, should probably add a little bit more. And then keep dry brushing this. So exciting with these master tile reveals for Malifaux. I have a few tournaments coming up in October and November, like late October. And then I was like, I've got heaps of time. I can play Explorers. Got heaps of time to paint. And I've been thinking I'll paint like 2 crews for that. I better start doing that. Wacky Races Bayou style. Yeah. Have not played Bayou Bash, but if I ever get the chance, I will. Could just buy it, I guess. Maybe we went a little bit heavy on this dry brush at the front. My puff, I hope you enjoyed these tournaments when they come along. Thanks. Really looking forward to them. Been like really starved for tournaments. I really miss them. Like playing some challenging, fun games, seeing some old faces, some new faces, and seeing a lot of cool painted miniatures, just having a laugh. Should be a lot of fun. There have been no Malifaux tournaments in Sweden for quite a while, for, well, pretty obvious reasons. But now we got 2 planned. And also a little Swedish vassal league that we're doing. So that's going to be cool. Like, I prefer playing more the models face to face, of course, but vassal can be fun too. It also gives me some practice for the physical tournaments. So we added a little bit more shabty bone. I almost said bleached bone because that's what the paint was called back in the days, or a similar one. And we're going brighter and brighter. But also lighter and lighter on the brushing, so as to leave some the previous layers showing. And I'm thinking that's the last dry brush. What I like to do when painting wood and such, what I like to do now is to go in and do some spot highlights if I've got the time for it. I'll show you what I mean. I'm just mixing some sort of grayish beige color on my palette. Pretty light. Kitty sitting there staring at me with the ball in front of her, hoping that I will throw it, but at least she's not biting my leg anymore. So I want to pick out, like, I want the mouth of Stumpy to show more. And therefore, I'm using this bright paint, which is basically an off-white Citadel Wraithbone mixed in with a little bit of dried bark. And picking out the sort of, well, lips or teeth or whatever we should call it on the little Waldgeist. So we're kind of combining dry brushing with a little bit of a layered highlight. Can also, I'm doing little dots here to create a rough look, defining the sort of nose area of this charming creature. It's because it's pretty much like a face with legs and arms, right? In Sweden, we'd call it a huvudfoting. So that's some of my ridiculous language. Any of you guys painting anything cool right now? I actually ordered what's it called? The Here Lies box set today with the Grave Goo and the More Wraiths. And I also ordered the Damned. Because I was missing those for my Jedza collection. To be fair, I've painted exactly 0 Jedza models so far, or Seeker models. But I did build and Zenithal undercoat that set. So that's something. So that's probably moss, isn't it? Okay. Picking out little lines on the knee there. I'm only doing this on some areas I want some extra attention drawn to. Almost have to, like, it's easy to want to highlight everything for me, but I think there's some merit to concentrating these highlights to specific spots. Thanks for the sub, Julian. And welcome. We're all weird here or something. So the eyebrows kind of look like they're made of moss, which is cute. Pick out the I almost said muscle because it's kind of it's got pretty human-like muscles. Got the bicep, the triceps and stuff. Highlighting these nice, shapely wooden hips. These little twigs. The heel. Yeah. Maybe tiny little highlight on the butt. The Waldgeist butt. This is the cutest wallgeist ever. Don't know if that's saying much, but was I being mean now? Highlighting the rings of the stump. And the skin of the gremlin was painted, like I base coated it right before the stream. And I painted it like a 50-50 mix of Auroch hide and wall flesh from Citadel. Because I just figured it's a bit of a boring step to watch. I realize now that we should have painted the, like I talked about this earlier, but I should have painted the axe haft / right hand of Stumpy. So I'll paint that now in dried bark, leaving some black for shadow in between these details. Don't have it to be too neat. It's looking like wood. Yeah. Stamp his little arm. Do you think she chopped off Stumpy's arm or someone else did it and she made a club of it to like bash enemies of the forest with? Yes, Kitty? Adding a little bit of Ushabti bone to the dried bark to highlight the hand / hatchet haft, shaft, handle thingy. Right. If the brown paint has a woody taste, kinda, sort of, yeah, something like that. Wouldn't recommend it. It's not tasty. There was something that was pretty tasty last stream, but I don't recall what that was. I'm unsure. So I've been walking around thinking it's Monday today. Man, I've known all along that it's Tuesday, but it really feels like a Monday. Got some of that brighter mix to further highlight this Spiked Axe Club arm hand thingy branch. Maybe I used too many nouns. Feels like a Monday to Waldo. He's snoring under my desk. Oh, yeah? It's very Monday today. But I think it is Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, so something we could do, I guess, is to like put a little bit of green into some areas of the bark. So I'm adding some Cabalite green with some water to, I mean, it might not be super apparent on the camera. Camera's a little desaturated. Maybe I can have a look at that later. So I'm trying to add some variation to the tones of the wood. I'm thinking we could use some browns for that too in some areas. Because if you look at a tree, like in your mind, a tree bark might be just brown or brownish gray, grayish brown. But like, if you really look at a tree, usually there's quite a lot of color there. It's just very subdued. And if you just paint it chocolatey brown, it will look very cartoony, which might or might not be what you want. Like I'm looking out my window and the trees outside are pretty gray. But if I would look closely, I'd probably see quite a lot of variation in the colors of the bark. And this might not be super apparent when we look at the meanie from just glancing at it, but I think these little color filters really add some interest to it, I find. I'm also I'm picking up some Citadel Corn Red mixed with some black and a lot of water, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a red filter. Let's do one around the eyes. On the side of the nose. Also, when painting miniatures, this is something like it's often nice to exaggerate some stuff. Like you can, like these red shadows I'm adding are perhaps more extreme than they would be on normal tree, like a real tree, but maybe not. We can do this quite randomly. Camera's not picking up a lot of the red, but it's a very subtle effect. We'll grab some called wall flesh. And actually, let's mix it with a little bit of black. And with that black and green mix, I'll paint the mossy eyebrows, moss on the shoulder. So in the game, you can play this. I mean, it's designed after the Bayou miniatures, but you can. It's part of the Malifaux starter set for Bayou, which means that you can play them in 2 different games. And in Malifaux, they have, well, they're all of the minis in the starter boxes are versatile, but they also have a keyword each in this Bayou box. So this one is a Swamp Fiend, which means it's got some extra synergy with Zoraida. So if you play Zoraida, this one might be one of your new best friends. Along, I suppose, with the Kurgan coming out later, which is pretty much a wandering apple tree, at least from what I can see. Okay, so let's go to the skin of the gremlin. And I'm pondering, like, using some orc flesh from Citadel with just a tiny bit of wall flesh will build up the mid-tones. Leaving some of that darker mix to show the definition of the muscles and fingers, etc. This is a different skin tone compared to what I used for the other two models. But like, there's going to be some variation in skin tones. Well, it makes sense, right? Not all gremlins are the same green, I'm thinking. Picking out the fingers. Gonna be pretty careful with this hand because this hand, the definition of it is kind of soft here. So when Waldo's sleeping, I guess that means that he's behaving. Sort of. All the others at the office can relax. Maybe. Maybe not relax, but a little bit. She's got some pretty pronounced brows. This lady. Green paint is tasting, I don't know what it's tasting like. Gremlin, maybe. Very strong cheekbones, very small chin. And thinking of the tournaments, like one thing that is really exciting with Malifaux for me is that there's so many different cool masters, keywords, mechanics to try out. But that often makes it so that I get into a sort of analysis paralysis almost on what to play in a tournament because I'm so excited about a lot of different things. And like if you're playing a 3-game tournament, I don't think I'm going to be bringing 3 masters. But I still had in my mind that I kind of wanted to bring like lots of things. Like I was excited about Anya and Jedsa and I was like McCabe, which I've started painting. And then I started looking at EVS too. And that I'm not going to be able to paint all that. And bringing 4 masters to a 3-game tournament feels like a bit of a waste too. Like, or not, it's not a waste, but like, especially since I've got limited time to learn all those masters. Since I'm new to Explorers, which is perhaps not very strange since they're pretty new themselves. I figured I should probably narrow it down to 2 masters. And I might change my mind like 5-6 times between now and the tournament. But as of now, I'm thinking I probably want to play Anya and Jedsa. because they got me really excited. Decided I'd wait with Maxine's is I don't even know her yet. She just seems like so much fun to play. Really excited about EVS. Need a tiny bit of caffeine. Put a little turquoise base coat in the eyes, just to see if we feel that. They're kind of blue or turquoise in the artwork, but I also feel like orange would really pop too. So orange eyes would be a nice option too. Picking out these little toes. We're soon gonna go over the skin with pure auric flesh, I'm thinking. Which new master interests you the most? I think currently really excited about Maxine, which I don't own yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll get her. Then I'm really looking forward to seeing her title card, which hasn't been revealed yet, but the artwork's really cool and a bit disturbing. Seems like she's fallen to the Burning Man. Burning Man! But out of the titles revealed, I'm hyped for Marcus. I always liked Marcus, and he looks really strong. Like, literally, I guess, but gameplay-wise, he seems like a lot of fun. Like, he can be really annoying to face, and he's just very strong. He's actually one of the keyword masters. I feel like they often seem pretty well balanced, but I kind of wonder, will I ever want to play the original? I don't know. Like, in an ideal world, I think everyone would be like, in an ideal game state, I guess. Every title, including the old masters, would be as useful as the other. But I think Marcus is one of those where I'd rarely look at the old one. I might be wrong, and it'd be nice to be wrong. But anyway, I'm really excited for him. Like, he seems like a lot of fun to play, and he can be really aggressive. And I think it's pretty fun to be playing aggressively. I tend to like that. I don't always do that, but it's a lot of fun to be aggressive, I find. So I'm picking out the toes again now with pure auric flesh. It's a new paint I've gotten. It's really, really quite like it. It's got a nice balance between green and yellow. Like it's mostly green, but it's a pretty yellow green. It makes sense for us to have cooler green in the shadows and more yellow in the highlights. But yeah, about masters, I am really hyped for Jedza and Maxine too. Not Jedza and Anya too. The ones I'm planning on taking to the tournaments. Right. Very different ones, obviously. Anya really tickles that, like my interest in like aggressive, risky plays, which I feel like can be really fun. She's got some cool aggressive tricks, while Jedza is like, I think it's a lot that the models are really nice, but also that it's a really cool puzzle to be playing Jedza, and a pretty frustrating puzzle to be playing against her, since I'm doing that too. The models are also charming. Like, who doesn't love a giant skeletal cow named Sophie? The gentle giant. She is so charming. And the lamplighters. Such little stars. I love them. Sophie's the best, yeah. She's so nice. She's even so nice that when you heal, like you can decide to heal enemies at times to get the buffs when someone heals. But Sophie is just so nice that she always gives the buff to the like it's always a buff to the healed model. So like a lamplighter could put a healed enemy model out of position, but Sophie she just always, I mean, she can choose not to, but like she can't do anything mean. She means well. The enemy heals, you can either do nothing or let them discard and draw a card. I like competitively, you probably don't want to let the enemy discard and draw a card, but I think it's a cute little detail that she's just gentle. She doesn't do anything mean. I like the Damned. The Damned is really cool, but it's more of the mean giant in the crew. More the I'm gonna eat your face model. I faced the dam twice now, and it has ruined my day both times. Vyrd, I will be painting Jedza box for a body and very much look forward to tackling Mikhail and the Lamplighters. These have quite different aesthetics. Yeah, they do. I feel the Lamplighters, several of them, like I think 2 of them, feel very Final Fantasy IX in a very good way. I've got the this one built. So cute. So cute. It's probably my favorite, but I also like them all. And I am struggling because I really want to do a great paint job, but I'm also struggling a little bit with that because I don't really, like, it takes some time to start 2 new crews with all the bits and pieces, or compared to, say, an army miniature game, it's no time at all. But I'm unsure if I have the time to really give them my all. It's your favorite lamplighter, yeah? I think it's a favorite of a lot of people, though they're all great. Also love the more wraiths. They are super cute. They just look so nice, so kind. They just want to be nice. I'm kind of liking where this skin is going. Like, I do wonder about the story behind Mikhail and the lamplighters and such. The book's been out of stock whenever I've looked for it, so yeah, we'll see. I'm now going to use some Citadel Ogreen Camo, mixing that with some Auric Flesh. And Auric Camo is a sort of, or Ogreen Camo is a, what should we call it? It's like a pretty, it's kind of a yellowish color. Not quite bone. It's got some more yellow and green in it, but it's, yeah, it's a pretty good highlight for the skin tone we've got going. Painting the lowest part of her brows. I got e-version of the book the moment it was released. Some of the best Malifaux fluff I've read so far. That's nice. Right, of course, e-book. Could get the e-book, though I kind of want the physical one. And to be fair, I've yet to read my Resurrection book. Like, I really like physical books, but then I tend to not be very good at getting through those. It's mostly, like, if I list everything I've read, it's mostly audiobooks nowadays. Because I listen a lot when I paint at work. I'm really glad to hear that you think the stories are good. It's exciting. I finished the book Harold the Ninth today. It's got some real nice sort of Malifaux Resser vibes going. Almost as if, imagine if the guild was led by a Resser governor, though this is an emperor, a god emperor. It's got some of the same humorous tones that some of the Resser stories have, I find. So I can recommend that. I know I mentioned it some other stream too, talking to Guslado. Yeah, she's got teeth showing, right? I'm gonna glance back to my little box set. Yeah. ES book. A lot about cool references to past events, characters. Colody, Taylor, Mama Z, but don't want to spoil too much. Nice. That I like that. I actually got quite a lot of story that I haven't read yet. Like I know that I read the Neverborn book, and I've skimmed the ones in the guild and Arcanist books a little bit. I want to buy them all eventually. Really quite enjoyed the Neverborn stories. That one with Fortune was really nice. Fortune and Pandora. Okay, so going back in with some pure Ogring camo. Get some of these yellowish highlights. Building it up. Doing little dots of highlights on the muscles. It's a bit warmer than it shows up on camera. A bit more yellow. Resser and Neverborn stories tend to be my favorites of the Malifaux stories. Even though I've mainly been an Arcanist player in 2nd edition, with Neverborn as a side project. I haven't really touched my Neverborn in 3rd. Just want all my plastic minis to have a time to shine. So when is your next stream, Viruk? Didn't get a look at a schedule. And are you still on the forums? I don't frequent the forums anymore. Like, I'm a bit like forums. Or are they still a thing? But I remember you from the forums. Are you still there? Jumping around, writing brilliant stuff, posting cool memes. Am I missing out? Like, I really like the Schemes and Stone podcast, and I listened to it a little bit yesterday, but I was like, it's a little funny that when they say I'm known as Coyote on the forums, etc., and like, on the forums? Forums. That is so 2010. Tomorrow, 11:30 EST to 7. Oh, 11:30 EST. Cool. 17:30 Central European time. Nice. Still doing the forums mainly. Monthly painting challenge, Neverborn section. Monthly painting challenge, that is a good thing. That's nice. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with forums. I'm just, with Facebook and Instagram becoming such a big thing, I eventually like just sort of started forgetting about forums. On Discord and stuff too. It's really nice that they're there though. Seems like there's a bit of a delay between the time I put comment and it appears. We'll test if this works faster on Twitch. I think it is faster on Twitch, yes. But I'm not sure. I think there might be a little bit of a delay. So I'm doing a final highlight of the skin with some... Seems better, yeah. Did you use Facebook or YouTube? I'm doing like a final highlight of right bone. Mostly in the face. Yeah, you're on Twitch now, but like, sorry, I was wondering which one you were using before that. I was a bit unclear, sorry. Such cute teeth. YouTube before, okay. So, in case you missed it, I put a tutorial up on YouTube on how I did my swamp bases for this crew. Like this one. But I did water splashes on the piggy one. But there's a tutorial on youtube.com/c/Sybarite_painting. If anyone's interested. Virak, by the way, I think we competed against each other. And one of the iron painters pretty deep into the competition, and we both painted the same model then. Oh, cool. So let's see. What did I paint? That does ring a bell. What did I paint? First I painted the steam trunk as a mimic. Then I did like a zombie fallout thing with a canine remains. Then I did Miranda and the Widow Weaver. Oh, I botched that eye. Something wicked this way comes was the theme. Yeah, cool. So did you do the Widow Weaver? Because I painted the Widow Weaver and Miranda. I don't recall who won, but I think because I did 4 entries. I did one with Teddy too, but I feel like I didn't really have the time and energy to make that. Like, I got through it. Okay, cool. Then I lost with my Teddy entry. I don't. It does ring a bell that you painted a Widow Weaver, and I seem to recall it being really cool. I got a pretty bad memory when it comes to visual things, which is perhaps funny when you're doing paintings and drawings and stuff. Not ideal, perhaps. Like I have the opposite of a photographic memory, I guess. Which means I'm also pretty bad at faces. I often get confused and introduce myself to people I've already met, and it's all really pretty embarrassing. Kind of sucks. Sometimes people are sad that I don't recall. So I did the eyes. I did painted corn red and then just did a little dot of Fire Dragon Bright. Simple as that. To get that. Oh, sorry, I'm outside of the camera. That little orange eye. Maybe it doesn't really show up. It's a very small detail. And then I picked some Cabalite green, mixed with a little bit of Wyrd. I'm glad you like my entry. I'm pretty damn sure I like yours too. I'm very forgetful. You're a great painter. I do know that. I can be a bit socially awkward. I'm sorry. So I'm doing some cool, like cold shadows by painting some watered down Cabalite green here and there. Like I wanted to give a bit more of a definition to her muscles shadow wise. But you live in Europe somewhere, right, Virak? I'm doing a Cabalite green shade here in her face, between her brow and her absence of a nose. Yeah, so let's paint the moss. So some wall flesh. I'm gonna like dot these onto the moss areas. Just poke it on there. Hi, Ash and Olar. Just popped in to say hello, about to get dinner. Stumpy looking good so far. Thanks. Hope you get some nice dinner, Ashen. For some reason, I tend to get a little hungry when I'm streaming. Like, I had dinner right before streaming. But somehow I'm hungry again. It's really strange. Or maybe not hungry, but I want to eat stuff. Maybe painting gives me munchies. Painting munchies. Is that a thing? Maybe it's all that paint I'm eating. Imagine there's like this scene from a TV series or something where they're like showing me some scans. So Elinore, got some bad news. Your body is now 40% paint, 30% rock art flesh, 20% Abaddon black. I drink too much Coke Zero. Guilty. To further highlight this, I mixed the wall flesh with some just brighter colors on my palette. Mix it with, like, doesn't have to be very specific. I mix it with some of that Ogren camo and a tiny bit of Sybarite green I had left over from the last stream on my wet palette. I didn't want it to be the same green as the gremlin skin, of course. That would make her skin very good at blending in the forest, but we want her to pop. Doing these little stabs of highlight. Like, it's so texture, you can just overbrush it, which is kind of like dry brushing, except it's not dry. That makes sense. Oh, Stumpy, you're so cute. Okay. So let's paint her top. Let's paint her top with Brionne Blue from Reaper, I'm thinking. Okay. Some paint is dried in the tip. There we go. So Brionne Blue, we use that for the blue parts of the harpooner too, plus stream. a little difficult to tell where her top ends and the necklace starts. Tiny detail. Maybe that looks good, I think. Leaving a little black for shadows here and there. Paint didn't taste much. Brush Liquing Society paint review. Probably her top, right? Oh, something happened with the camera image. There we go. It's very temporary. Doing little black outlines. Also, mixing some black into some real blue for some more shading. Underneath the arms. And then I have some Templar blue from that same Reaper triad. And highlight it. Then I got some Reaper Ashen Blue for a final highlight. God, I need to do something about my haircut. Been complaining about that for a while. My hairdresser got ill. Anyway, COVID hair is the thing, right? It's all right to have a little bit of COVID haircut. I think. That's what I'm telling myself. I like this Gremlin's hair. It's pretty hippie. Kind of. Do gremlins always have black hair? Or is there artwork of a gremlin with a different hair color? I don't recall. Like the dudes don't tend to have hair at all. Maybe a beard if they're old. Thanks for the follow, Masamuna. And thanks for the catch, Wyrd. Masamuna, no, that's that legendary sword. Legendary Japanese sword. If I recall correctly. It's also the name of the sword Victoria's got, right? Mixing a little bit of wraith bone into this next to do a final little highlight. We want to suggest that the top is a little worn on the edges. I'm going to push this moss away a little bit more. Okay, maybe we want to paint her trousers. Where's that? Where's the paint? Yeah. Let's just... Where'd it go? There. There we go. Looking for my Dark Reaper. That's a cool name for paint. Or a bit try hard. I don't know. So I'm gonna base coat the pants in Dark Reaper. And I'm only leaving like the absolutely darkest shadows in black. So I'm thinking these trousers will be rather bright. So we'll build it up from the Dark Reaper. Dark Reaper is pretty nice. Dark gray with a little bit of a bluish tint to it, which I really like. Go. It's so cute. She's got her laundry with her. Like she's done her laundry and then she just had hop onto her. She hung her laundry on her Wallgeist friend. And then she just had to hop onto her Wallgeist to go do some Bayou Bash racing or axe some people. Not. Why not? A little fiddly to reach some of these areas. It's not impossible. Got some pros and cons with pre-built models. Pros are obvious. You don't have to build them. A con is that some areas can be hard to reach with your paintbrush. I'm thinking I'll then mix a little bit of Dark Reaper with a little bit of Beyond Blue and do a first highlight of the hair. I want her hair to be pretty blue, black. Oops, that's a bit too much. Thinking we can contrast this with a little bit of orange on the axe for some rust against these blue tones. We also got her orangey eyes, but those are pretty small, so maybe we want some more. This hair could be dry brushed if you want it. It's got some very clear definition, But I want a smoother finish than a dry brush would give. Like, I feel like a dry brush was very suitable for the bark. It works for the hair too. And it's something that looked a little bit smoother. Notice we have some green here on the underside of the ponytail. Whoopsie. Anyone in the chat painting anything cool right now? I need to tidy this up with a little bit of black paint, separating the strands of hair. Brush licking optional. I did notice she has a belt. She's so tiny. I'm picking that out with black right now. Mixing a little bit of Fenrisian gray into that brown blue dark reaper mix, continuing on the hair because I just feel like I'll get back to the pants soon. Boo, boo, boo. Pretty easy to pick out these strands of hair because they're so well defined. You can just move the side of your brush, which makes it much easier to paint. I wonder what color to paint the hairband. Maybe a deep red. A little bit more Fenrisian gray. Okay. Like this is pure Fenrisian gray here. I haven't even been outside today. I'm sitting here painting a tree. Something about that just feels a little odd. I'll go outside after this. Highlighting increasingly smaller little areas. Then we're mixing some white into this. Wojtek Tekielski. Sorry if I butchered your name. Welcome to the stream. Glad you're here. It would be great to see you stream when you paint draw Malifaux art. Thanks. Yeah, that could be really fun. Like, I'm a bit rusty right now with drawing, but when I'm trying to get back into it. Really like the artwork you did for that unique deck. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you like it. Malifaux fan art stream would be fun. Sometimes, like, I can be a little shy when drawing. Like, I think streaming drawing might really trigger my imposter syndrome, if you know what I mean. But I'll give it a consideration. Something I could do on my own stream here on Twitch. Ah, that's Viruk. Okay, cool. Sorry for butchering your name. For some reason, I can't get back on Twitch again. I needed to log using a different account. Okay. Huh, strange. Yeah, that could be fun. I'll consider it, and maybe I'll do that on my own stream. I think after my stream on Thursday, maybe I'll try and stream some Psychonauts again, which I did last week. Because I started playing Psychonauts 2, and damn, I really enjoyed this that game. Okay, I'm gonna try and highlight the trousers, and I find it a little bit hard to see and reach. Yeah, paint is a little bit shiny and it's a little difficult to get in between these branches and arms and everything. No worries. I'm used to that. In fact, I work with people from Sweden on a daily basis. I've heard my name pronounced in all different ways. Yeah. Yeah, like, that's cool. Can I ask what you work with? I guess getting your name butchered can be a little tiresome, but what can you do? Maybe people will learn eventually. Oops, painted outside of the camera there. At least I've got a name that people tend to feel is, or in the English-speaking world, at least feel it's pretty easy to say. Even though I don't pronounce it exactly the same way in English that I do in Swedish. Look at that paint. Sure, it's a consulting company based in the US, but I happen to be working with a Nordic cluster. Okay, cool. The Nordic cluster, huh? So using some Dark Reaper mixed with some Fenrisian Grey now to build up some highlights on the trousers. Everything is so small. Who would have thought that painting miniatures would be fiddly, right? Okay, this might be too harsh. So I'm using a bit of Fenrisian Grey, and maybe I'll have to do an in-between highlight. A little in-betweener to tie this all together later. Hitting the raised creases of the pants. I think maybe we want to do a little a little glaze of brown in the shadows later. What take? You have a nice flow going with the highlight. Seemed like the way you approach the whole mess, the whole process helps with getting a more coherent final look. Thanks. Yeah, maybe. Do my best. I tend to mostly paint one area at a time. And I think I like to start with the areas which are going to be the color I want to be the most like dominant, which is often, or I don't know if that's true. I mean, I painted like the blue green tones on the harpooners are very strong, but like I tend to paint the skin very early because that's where we usually want the focus to be. And then I try and balance things around that. not really a right or wrong way to do this. Some people just go base coat everything, shade everything, and then build up highlights and everything a little bit at once. And that's fine too. This just tends to work for me, but sometimes it's a bit random too. Like I do some base coat some parts and then maybe shade it and then highlight that later and jump back and forth. I think it's part of like how I explore the color scheme, because I don't tend to sit and decide everything beforehand. Even though perhaps that would be ideal. Sometimes I want to see what comes out, sort of, if that makes sense. Like I think I've seen you post in a weird place, but like my brain didn't really realize that Wojtek and Virik was the same person. It's not so strange, I guess. Why would it do that? Well, I guess I could have, like, from the way you paint, I could have guessed. Wow, time really flies. Huh. Like we only have about 12 minutes left on the stream, but we've gotten pretty far, so that's nice. Choices are looking a little bit rough. For some reason, I'm finding them a little bit challenging to paint. Yeah, I think nicknames are more easy to remember. Yeah, they tend to be. Depending on the nickname, of course, but yeah, I agree. been painting so much yesterday and today that my middle finger is starting to ache a little bit. Hi, Guslado. Like when I hold my brush, I often tend to hold it like this. And I fix it mostly between my middle finger and my thumb. Well, my index finger, I guess. But like I find myself pressuring the brush to stay steady, mostly with my middle finger. And after painting like 8 hours in a day or something, I starts to hurt. So I need to try and remember to relax that finger or vary my grip. But like coming up with different ways to hold the brush, that's not like learning new brush grips. It's a cool thing, but it's not the easiest thing to do, right? Do you have different brush grips yourselves? Or do you always hold it the same way? I think it's pretty interesting to see how different people hold their brushes and pencils in different ways. There are just so many, there's quite a few ways to go about it, really. Like some people hold them, I can't even demonstrate. Like my partner does a lot of drawing and she holds her pencils completely differently to me. Sometimes I have a weird inward grip when painting the far side of a model. The far side of the model. Okay, yeah. That's cool. It's interesting. Guslada, are you streaming later, or do you know, is there anyone else who does that? Because I didn't see the schedule, or it wasn't completed, I think, when I started streaming. Not posted, at least. Haunted 3:30. Okay, yeah, cool. So 1.5 hours after I end, kind of 1.5 hours after now, is Haunted Miniatures streaming. So that's nice. If you want to catch some more brush licking goodness, sorry. But I think we got pretty far on this model, which we started today. I think we can finish her on Thursday, which is when my next stream is. Guslada, I plan on doing some late night streaming tonight and Thursday to try to wrap up what I need to bring to the table at Gen Con. Cool. You were bringing some titania, right? You showed that. Or do you say Titania or Titania? I say Titania. I don't know what is correct. The Autumn Queen. She's cool. I only ever faced her once. That was in 2nd edition. So many masters now. You pronounce it like I do for Shakespearean stuffs. Okay. Cool. I know someone, I think maybe by accident, pronounced it Tatiana. That just made me chuckle. That's cute. Easy to read it as Tatiana, I guess. Well, why not? You know? Pronouncing stuff is hard at times. Finished her up the other day and finished painted the Gora this morning. Yeah, the Gora looked great. Need to drop a little basing on Face Snake, but there's not a whole lot to do because it takes up 90% of the base. Yeah, I always get a little perplexed when I'm painting something that takes up the whole base. Like, but what about my thematic basing? You can, of course, enlarge in the base, I guess, depending on the basing, but yeah. So it is starting to become the time where we will end this stream, where we will wrap things up. If you want to check out my basing tutorial on how I do the swamp bases, if you missed it, I got it up on youtube.com/ZC. Like in citrus. youtube.com/C/Sybarite_painting. And I got a water splash thing going on there on one of the bases. So this is a base that Stumpy is going to go on. And then the rabbit's going to be in another base with water splashes. So yeah, got a tutorial up on my YouTube channel there if you want to see that. I did forget to mention that you can also, of course, tint the water if you want to. I decided not to do that because I wanted to see like the underneath painting and basing stuff. But yeah. Also got my Instagram, Sybarite_painting. Thanks. And yeah. Here on Twitch, I am Sybhel, so Sybhel. And we'll finish up this miniature next time, probably. So Haunted Miniatures is streaming in 1.5 hours. So check that out if you want to see some more painting. Have a good night. See ya. Bye.